Sometimes I'm going to write out the original equation, but starting today, if it's one that I think is fairly easy for me to rewrite in my head, I may just go to the rewritten equation. Again, just like before, each of these is going to be worth 2 marks. Again, who's my favorite student? Good old Anne. So, number 1 starts at rest. I underlined that, and honestly, right away, I wrote, well, A equals question mark and VI equals 0. Looks like that 18 is a displacement. Looks like that 4 is a time. And you'll notice in this question, I didn't use the words distance or time. You had to figure it out by the context and the units. And I'll start doing that more and more, where I'll just say, oh, figure it out. Look at the units and you can figure out what's what. The equation is going to be D equals VI. Wait a minute. What's VI as a number exactly in this question? So I could go with D equals a half AT squared. Mr. Duick, you wrote AT squared over 2. That's because, Moses, I'm too lazy to write the of the a half. The 1 isn't going to make a difference anyways. Okay? Found the quiz yet? Got it out? Okay, then stay focused. Here we go. I want to get the A by itself. I said, okay, the D is going to stay where it is. I'm going to times the 2 over. I'm going to divide the T squared. That equals A. Again, don't write this down if you haven't done the quiz. I'll put an answer key online. Foolishness would be copying this as we go. Try it yourself on your own time. Right? Right. Do I need to square root the A? There's a squared, isn't there? When do I have to square root? If the squared is on the thing I'm trying to get by itself. In this case, if I was getting the T by itself, I'd have to square root. So this is going to be 2 times 18 divided by 4. Don't forget the square. I can do this in my head. It's going to be 36 divided by 16. It's going to be divided by 4. 9 divided by 4. Is it 2.25? Okay. Units, meters per second squared. So I would give you a half mark if I saw that. Half mark for the correct equation, half mark for the numbers, half mark for the answer. But what I really mean is, first I would look, did you get it right with the correct units? You get 2 out of 2. Otherwise, that's what I look for to give you the part marks. And it'll be that way for the rest of the quiz for every question. Noor, is that okay? You're good? Make a silly mistake? Having to do a correction already? No! Oh, just need a... Okay. B is asking me to find VF. I gotta be honest, I was really torn here because I'm naturally lazy. I really wanted to just go VF equals AT. That would be using my answer from part A. If I was completely confident that I had done part A right, full disclosure, Ella, I would have done it this way because I would have had the 2.25 sitting on my calculator, and so I would have just gone answer button times time and walked away and got the 9 in my head. But at the same time, I can also find it using this equation, D equals bracket VI plus VF times T over 2. Put your pencils down, look up. I had somebody in one of my blocks say, Mr. Duick, sometimes you write it this way, where the T is tucked inside the fraction next to the bracket. And Mr. Duick, sometimes you write or type it this way. They are the same. Really? Yeah, and it's not your fault. You guys, sorry, you suck at fractions. It's not your fault, though. The curriculum has done a bad job of teaching you fractions for about the last 25 years or so. Any number is a fraction. What's everything over technically? See, this second version is technically that, for starters. And so that T, is it on the top or on the bottom? And this is technically one fraction times another fraction, technically. And how do you multiply fractions? It's top times top, bottom times bottom. So technically, you would get VI plus VF times T on the top. And on the bottom, you'd have 2 times 1, which even Gerard can do in his head. 2 times 1, which even Gerard can do in his head. 2 times 1. And hey, There's that version right there. So it all depends. If I'm handwriting, I usually probably do this. If I'm typing, it depends whether or not I have a math editor on the word processor that I'm using that lets me do a 2-level fraction. Okay? Good stretch. I want to get the D by itself. No, I want to get the VF by itself. The D already is by itself. What's going to happen is the D is going to drop down. I guess I'm going to divide the T over. I'll times the 2 over. That takes care of outside the bracket. Then I'll minus the V. Wait a minute. What was VI in this particular question? Wouldn't even bother writing it. I would go like that. And so it's going to be 2 times 18 divided by 4. 36 divided by 9. Yes, even? Yes. And that's going to be meters. Now, if I had time, if this was a test, is it velocity? It's, you know what? I looked at that D here, meters per second. Thank you. You caught it first. I'm going to get you a candy at the end of class. Remind me. If I had time, Moses, I could also have gone 2.25 times 4, VF equals VI plus AT. And the fact that I get the same 9 tells me, oh, I did A right as well. There's no way I could have fluked into both of those getting the same answer. Number 2. Looks like they want me to find A. Looks like VI is 1.5. VF is 8.6. T is 4.5. I'm going to go straight to the punchline here. I think A equals VF minus VI over T. So I would give you 1 mark if you went straight to there. Otherwise, half mark for writing VF equals VI plus AT. Half mark for writing A equals VF minus VI over T. It's going to be 8.6 minus 1.5 all over 4.5. I should get a positive answer because this dog is speeding up. 8.6 minus 1.5, close off the top, divided by 4.5. Did you all get 1.58 if I round off properly? If you said 1.57, I would take a half mark off. We round off. We don't chop off. And it's an acceleration, meters per second squared. Is that a big acceleration? It's about 1/5 of a g, so meh. The distance traveled, okay. D equals, I think I'm going to use D equals bracket VI plus VF times T over 2. I could use D equals VIT plus a half AT squared using this answer, and I would get the right answer as long as this one was right. But I'll use the data that they gave me if I can. So it's going to be 1.5 plus 8.6 times 4.5 all over 2. It's going to be bracket 1.5 plus 8.6 close bracket times 4.5 all over 2. Mr. Dewick? What, Tony? There's more than one thing on the top. Shouldn't there be a bracket after the 4.5 and in front of the first bracket? It's going to depend on your calculator's operating system. And this is where you can play around with your specific calculator. This is why I keep yelling at you to get your own specific calculator. I know on my calculator, if I multiply, my calculator just will assume that 4.5 is on top. I've just learned that. So I can get away without putting the top in one big uber bracket. I just know this will work. 22.7, is that correct? And that is meters. Now, I had a bunch of people last block. They said, Mr. Dewick, I think they got 20 point something, not 22.7. The most common mistake last block, kids forgot to put the 1.5 and 8.6 in brackets. They put a bracket right there because they said, oh, brackets around the top, but they forgot to realize that 1.5 plus 8.6 is its own little mini bracket. This is why I've always been yelling at you when I've said what equation and you said, oh, D equals VI plus VF times T over 2. I've said something like, hey, you're going to remember there's a bracket there, right? Because that's the common mistake. Yeah, if you got 20.1, that's what you get. That's what you did. I would give you 1.5 out of 2, and I would also think nasty thoughts about you. Give you a stink eye. How far? It looks like Oh, and before stopping, and slows down. So here's what I did before I even jumped on in. Colton, I made the acceleration negative because we're slowing down. And then stopping, I said I know VF is going to be 0, so they want me to find D. VI is 24. A is negative 3.8. VF equals 0. Okay. Colton, which equation has a D, a VI, an A, and a VF in it? There is one. No. Oh, I keep forgetting you were away for this. I'm so sorry. Matt, not the. Matt, which equation has a D, a VI, an A, and a VF in it? There is one. Oh, did you write? Good. Did you get the D by itself?
Yeah.
Oh, give me that. That's what I would prefer. Thank you. Yeah. You made my day. Go. Yes. Yeah. I don't know if you remember, Matt, at the beginning of last week when I started showing you this formula manipulation shtick, I said to you, you know what, by the end of next week you'll be doing this in your head. And I think a lot of you are getting there, right? Good. So it's going to be 0 squared minus 24 squared all over 2 times negative 3.8. Matt, what'd you get? 75.8, is that correct? I see people nodding. Units, Matt? Good. Well done. I'm proud of you. Hang on. I'm proud of you. Okay. Gibson, what's B asking me to find? Yeah, and I didn't relist everything. I did notice again, stop, VF is 0. I'll see if I can find time for, oh, yeah. Can you write me an equation for time that also has a VI and A and a VF? And if possible, could you get the T by itself, please? Yep. So it's going to be 0 minus 24 divided by negative 3.8. It's going to be 6 point something. 6.32. I would take a half mark off if you said 6.31. If you said 6.3, I'd be okay. 2 or 3 sig figs is good for me, as long as you round off properly. And units, it's seconds. Turn the page. Okay. Tyler, what's A want me to find? Yeah. And it looks like VI is 12, T is 6, D is 96. Tyler, this is actually the same question as number 1, except VI isn't 0. And so because this one is a bit more difficult, I think I might be tempted to write out D equals VIT plus a half AT squared. What are we trying to get by itself? So the D is going to drop down like a domino. Then I do my adding and subtracting. I would minus VIT. And then I would do my dividing. Divide by 0.5 T squared. That equals A. It's going to be, you know what? I might be able to do this in my head. 96 minus 12 times, sure I can. Divided by 0.5 times 6 squared, because 96 take away 72 is 24, divided by 0.5. It's going to be 48 over 36, which is the same as, what, 4 over 3. Is it 1.33333? At 1.3 repeating?
Yes.
Yeah? And then final units, Tyler, for acceleration? Yep. Meters per second, which we just said was meters per second squared. Okay? This is good. I sense for a lot of you it's all coming together. It's usually when about it happens. Find the velocity. Okay, VF equals question mark. This is the same as question 1 part B in that I can use the same equation, VI plus VF close bracket times T over 2. And again, I can get the VF by itself, but this time VI isn't 0. So again, it's going to be the D drops down like a domino. We would times by 2, we would divide by T, then we would minus the VI. That equals VF. Or you could use VF equals VI plus AT. Ella, that just means you're using your answer from part A. And I would use my answer button. I wouldn't use 1.33. I wouldn't even use 1.33333. I would use my answer button. We had one student last block. They used 1.333333. Mr. Dewick, I got 19.999999999. Yeah. I used my answer button. No, you didn't. Oh, yeah, you're right. I just filled my screen with 3s. Well, that's not your answer button. And I had a bunch of kids get 19.8. Oh, you didn't use your answer button. You just used 1.33. You did more typing for more error. That's silly in my mind. Is it 20? That one I didn't do in my head. I remembered it, although I could do it in my head, because it would be 2 times 96 divided by 6 minus 12. It's 32 minus 12, which is 20. And it's a velocity, meters per second. Okay. This is one we did in our notes, I think, a nice application, runway lengths. So it wants the minimum length of the runway. I'm pretty sure it's asking me to find D. It looks like VF is 84. What's VI for every airplane that's ever taken off ever? 0. Here I did say, assume the jet starts at rest. I would feel okay now not telling you that in the question and expecting you to realize, you know what, I know that. And then A is 3.75. Aaron, which equation?
I didn't write the equation.
No, yeah, but you wrote the revised equation, right? Yeah, that's the one I'm looking for. Sorry. Get the D by itself. Give me the punchline.
VF squared minus VI squared over 2A.
Nice. Get a little nerdy adrenaline rush when you do that in your head? Are you proud of it? You should be. Mummy, look what I can do. 84 squared minus 0 squared all over 2 times 3.75. I think this is going to be in the 900s somewhere, but that was a very rough guess. 84 squared minus 0 squared all divided by 2 times 3.75. 941? 940.8 I would take. 940, I would take a half mark off. Did she make a silly mistake? She did? Because I saw you pointing at her. So, hey, sit up a little straighter, look over at her, and then just do the eye roll and shake your head. Come on, you know you want to. You go ahead. By the way, Bronson Park, 3 o'clock. You can still take her, right? RCMP investigating a car crash. I think this question wants me to find VI. Oh, what did we say VF was of any car crash ever?
0.
Okay. Looks like D is 42.5. Looks like T is 1.6. I think I'm going to end up using D equals bracket VI plus VF close bracket times 2, and I'm going to get the VI by itself. The D is going to drop down like a domino. We're going to times by T, divide by 2. Sorry, times by 2, divide by T. I think I said that backwards. Minus, what's VF? I'm not going to write the minus VF because it's a 0, but that equals VI. VI is going to be 2 times 42.5 divided by 1.6. Do that one in your head. Well, 42.5 is going to be 85 divided by 1.6. What's a clever way to divide by 1.6? Divide by 2 4 times. No, I need a calculator. 50 point something, but no, I can't get more than that. 2 times 42.5 divided by 1.6. 53.1? Could you give yourself a score out of 20? If you need to lawyer with me, now is the time.